Ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot to talk about this evening. This is going to be an amazing live stream. John Durham, first of all, his budget has been renewed, so we'll get to that a little later. I'll do a segment on that tomorrow morning. So check out that segment tomorrow morning, the upload on, obviously we knew, well, we didn't know for sure, for certain, with certainty, but we knew that his budget, of course, would be renewed. Attorney General Merrick Garland, who does not want the Durham probe special counsel to continue, was forced to continue, financing the special counsel. So the Durham probe special counsel is going on indefinitely. The indictments that we're going to talk about tonight are going to stem from the 81,000 pages that I reported on from the Washington Examiner's article on this YouTube channel earlier today. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. We are going to give you information on the Durham probe in all of YouTube. There might be one or two or three people talking about the Durham probe, but I am talking about the Durham probe all the time, giving you updates on the special counsel, just like all of media obsessed over the Mueller probe special counsel. Hit subscribe to this channel. Hit subscribe to the stock market crash channel. I'll have a segment right after this one on the stock market crash. There's going to be a devastating stock market crash. I explained that in my Federalist article. Read the Federalist article below. It will be in the description or the pinned comment of all my segments. And to my super chat, I cannot do this without you, ladies and gentlemen. I know somebody just started it off. Eric and Luke, if you could let me know, or David, is there somebody, it might have been Paul, somebody started off the super chat, and thank you so very much to the super chat. I can't do this without you, ladies and gentlemen. So your support is greatly, greatly appreciated. So to my super chat, you allow me to do these live streams, and I'm going to try to ramp up more live streams in the near future. But ladies and gentlemen, to my super chat, thank you. I can't thank you enough. Let's get started. I want to read you this Durham probe Washington Examiner article. Durham unloads thousands of documents to Sussman defense. 81,000 pages of discovery. That's the legal equivalent of the Archegos hedge fund getting a $30 billion margin call. Okay? That's why one of the reasons we're going to have a devastating financial crisis, because of a derivatives nightmare. But discovery is kind of like, getting a margin call. But in a legal sense, you're going to get, you have to give all the information requested of you, and if there's 81,000, and receive the information you request. If there's 81,000 pages of discovery, you think maybe that has something to do with Andrew McCabe, Peter Strzok, Christopher Steele, the lovely Lisa Page, John Brennan, James Comey, James Baker, all of these people, Kleinsmith, Sussman. Well, Sussman's asked for the information. All of the people who set up and framed Trump. Trump was set up and framed. Everybody knows this. That's what the Durham probe. Do you think John Durham doesn't know this? Everyone knows this. Even Democrats, they don't care. Democrats know that they set up and framed Trump. The difference is that they think they have a right to do so. That's the mentality. That's where the narcissism comes in. You have to understand the mentality. It's complete. Look, you could take an example, the example of the Raiders and John Gruden. John Gruden worked with a diverse group of people his entire life at every level of his coaching. There was never any allegation where this man was a bad human being. If he owed an apology to anyone, he didn't owe an apology to society. Because society judges Gruden, but they don't judge Joe Biden, who wrote the crime bill with the 100-to-1 sentencing disparity. So if you actually impact negatively, if you actually hurt the lives of people, you're given a free pass if you're a Democrat. But if you write an email 10 years ago That's a private email that he shouldn't have written, and yes, it was offensive, and yes, he shouldn't have said those things. But is there a person on the left who hasn't had a prejudicial or horrible thought? I don't think so. If you are free of sin, only then can you judge and condemn. Okay? But that's not the way the left thinks. Getting back to Gruden really quickly, he should have the apology should be to his players if he offended his players, and if the people who worked with him forgave him, that's who counts. If your family forgives you, and if the people you've harmed forgive you, or offended, that's what counts. Society is going to gravitate towards political power. That's why all these Democrats, from the Virginia governor to Jimmy Kimmel to Joe Biden to the list goes on and on. Joy Behar, for example. Okay, they all get away with everything. And then Joy Reid, they all pontificate and judge and condemn. And they think they can set up and frame people. The narcissism is, well, we don't need evidence to condemn or judge. We don't need to be free of sin. We can condemn, judge, pontificate, accuse, cancel, marginalize. We can do all of that because we have the power to do so. Only we can judge and condemn Trump without any evidence. That's the left. It's just they want to be able to pretend they're morally superior from a social vantage point, which they're not. Which all the problems, destroying Libya. President Obama destroyed Libya? We're going all over the place with social and foreign policy, social theories and foreign policy and justice issues. But President Obama engaged in a failed NATO intervention that resulted in the destruction of Libya, where people were being bought and sold directly because of President Obama and Clinton and Biden's failed NATO intervention. Nobody even debates whether or not the NATO intervention was a failure. Of course, it was a failure. Everyone knows this. The reason there's chaos and mayhem in that country, when there wasn't chaos and mayhem for years prior, there obviously was before the NATO intervention, but not nearly the level of what what President Obama's NATO intervention brought. You think all of these people calling for the resignation of John Gruden, or for Trump to be viewed as the most horrible man who's ever existed, do you think these people would dare say anything would dare condemn or judge President Obama for actually destroying a country with a failed NATO intervention? Of course they wouldn't. You think if Trump led a NATO intervention and then there were people bought and sold in Libya and there was a civil war and conflict for 10, 12 years after Trump's NATO intervention, you think they would let Trump live that down? Never, ever. But because it's President Obama, a Democrat, they don't care. You think that if Trump presided over a uranium deal where he got money from Russian lobbyists, you think that they would care? Of course they would. But because it's Madam Secretary, they don't. You think if Eric Trump or Donald Trump Jr. had emails on a laptop that said, "Oh, thanks for helping us meet your father," or "Oh, you give 10% of your money to Trump," you think they'd care? Of course. So I'm going all over the place, but it's all tied in. These people, look, you have this society we live in now condemns and judges and pontificates and preaches and gives sermons on morality, and they're the most immoral. They're immoral because they lie by omission, and they live to just condemn and judge without actually holding their side, their political side, accountable. And it's their political side that is allowed to get away with everything. Where did George Floyd lose his life? And I believe his life was taken from him. I do believe that was a murder. But where was his life taken? In a blue city, in a blue state, Minneapolis, Minnesota. You can't get more liberal. Okay? Eric Garner in New York City, New York. And so these are Democratic-run states. Okay? You think AOC cares about all the atrocities taking place or that have taken place in Rikers Island? These are all the biggest hypocrites on the planet, my God almighty. They're the televangelists of this day and age. The difference is that, no, I don't want an upgrade. My God. The difference, however, is that they wield political power. Anyway, getting back to the Durham probe, 81,000 pages. Special counsel John Durham provided 81,000 pages of discovery to indicted Democratic lawyer Michael Sussmann. Just to let you know, this man Sussman is not even the most influential or important person at that law firm. He's not even, of all the people at that law firm, this is all public record knowledge. This is all public record knowledge. I'm not making anything up. I'm specifically not bringing up one of the attorney names just because I'm waiting till he almost certainly gets indicted. But Sussman is not even the man who really helped spread the dossier. There are other attorneys that he worked with that are all in the public eye. He's on the lowest end of the hierarchy. He's a little higher than Kleinsmith, but I mean Kleinsmith was an FBI lawyer. This attorney met with James Baker of the FBI. Okay, he might have been part of purchasing the dossier, but there was another attorney there who just left that law firm, Perkins Coie. He is far more involved and almost certainly engaged in criminal or corrupt behavior. If Sussman is getting indicted, the other attorneys involved, probably possess a great deal more legal liability, or are in the radar far more than Sussman of the Durham probe special counsel. So this is all public record knowledge. The Sussman indictment is a long indictment of 81,000 pages, talking about everything from fusion GPS. Lakiva, I hope all is well. Thank you so very much, Lakiva. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Lakiva. Thank you. Thank you to my super chat. I can't thank you enough. And Eric and Luke, thank you so very much also. Ladies and gentlemen, Eric has an Odyssey and a YouTube channel. Subscribe to Eric's Odyssey and YouTube channel. Paul, was that you who started off the live stream? Somebody started off the live stream with a super chat. I want to thank you so very much. Lakiva, thank you so much. I hope all is well. Thank you for always watching, Lakiva. Thank you. The reams of documents which reveal details from a grand jury subpoena sent to 15 individuals and organizations, likely including opposition research, Fusion GPS, were produced this month after lawyers representing Sussman, who denies any wrongdoing, demanded more information while calling the allegations that he lied to the FBI 5 years ago vague and confusing. He lied to the FBI. Sussman is indicted because he didn't tell, or whatever. First of all, Sussman's probably innocent. Want to know why? Because James Baker of the FBI, the legal counsel, and all of them wanted to set up and frame Trump. This is how you have all of these scorpions and rattlesnakes and tarantulas and centipedes and all in one box. This is what happens when the Durham probe special counsel takes place. A special counsel like Mueller, okay? This isn't a stupid message board with like some Democratic operative running it that I told everyone never to listen to and that I said was dangerous. This is a special counsel, ladies and gentlemen, a special counsel funded by Democrats now because they have to. Funded by the United States government. Merrick Garland had to fund it today. He had no choice. It's a special counsel, and the whole corrupt edifice is coming crashing down. Why do you think Sussman, the attorney for Perkins Coie, or whatever, the law firm that literally purchased the dossier, Lakiva, thank you again, why do you think he didn't tell the truth? Or why do you think he is indicted for lying under oath? Well, the reason is because the indictment says that he deceived the FBI, who was really interested. See, the FBI, according to the indictment, was very interested in potential information that could harm national security. So they believed that the indictment reads that they believe, if you can believe this, that they believe, if you can believe this, that Sussman was simply going to the Bureau out of the goodness of his own heart. That he was simply trying to, protect national security. Okay? Does that make any sense to you? Do you think anyone at the FBI, who is supposed to keep the citizens of this country safe from the most menacing, threats, do you think that they truly believe that Trump worked with Russia? You think James Baker, who was working with liberal journalists? You think Peter Strzok, who said, we'll stop Trump? Do you think lovely Lisa Page, who said, honey, or what did she say? She said, he's not going to become president, right? And then Strzok said, no, we'll stop him. I'm a lumberjack and we'll stop him. All of these people, you think Comey, who was willing to testify against McCabe, you think that they really cared about Russian interference? Escravoise! I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Hello! Thank you so very much. Thank you very much, Lakiva. Escravoise, thank you so very much. Greatly appreciated. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Escravoise, thank you. Do you think, ladies and gentlemen, that they really believed that Trump was working for Putin? Do you really think they were concerned with that? They all were in on it. It's not rocket science. My God almighty. This is why I got into it. Like, CMW! Are we on the verge of a Durham tsunami? Thanks for stirring finally. Looking forward toward a Durham Daily Report. Thank you so very much, CMW. I'm going to do that. I'm definitely going to do that. This will be the one place on YouTube talking about it because CMW, media obsessed over Mueller, but they're barely talking about Durham. Thank you so very much, CMW. As always, things are getting exciting again. Stay on this. Please go easy. CMW, thank you. The only reason I go hard is because I don't want anyone duped. I don't want anyone duped by a message board that is almost certainly run by Democratic operatives. Democratic operatives, CMW, remember, were charged, or no, they resigned in 2016 for inciting. They actually did incite violence at Trump rallies, and I think that there's so many psychological, games that media and political operatives play But CMW, thank you so very much. You know that I don't have any animosity whenever I talk about the message board, other than I don't think anyone should ever listen to a message board. CMW, thank you so very much. I appreciate the kind words. Lakiva! Wow, thank you so very much, Lakiva. Lakiva, thank you. CMW, as always, thank you. Lakiva, as always, thank you so much, Lakiva. Thank you. Thank you so much. CMW, as always, thanks for the kind words. And yes, I'm going to continue with the Durham probe daily updates. It's going to be awesome. Lakiva and CMW, do you think that Durham doesn't know? We all know. Everybody knows. Comey, James Comey, Andrew McCabe, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, Kevin Kleinsmith, John Brennan, James Clapper, all of these wonderful human beings, these beautiful people, said, let's stop Trump. Let's set him up and frame him. Let's just simply utilize the frustration, the angst, the hysterical, apoplectic response by Democrats, a stunned nation, half the country viewed Trump as the end of the world, the apocalypse. So if they said that Trump had a romantic relationship with Martians, and these Martians were going to come down to Earth and use every human being's life force to fuel their spacecrafts, and it was Trump who was selling the rights to the planet to these Martians, H.G. Wells' fantasy FBI investigation, they'd believe it. They would believe anything. They didn't even have to do Russian interference. They could have picked any country on the planet. They picked Russia because of the Cold War and McCarthy era and Red Scare. So they created a new McCarthy era. CMW, thank you as always. Thank you, CMW. Lakiva, thank you. Don Yarley, thank you so much for becoming a member. Don, thank you. Thank you so much. 778, 800, almost 800 viewers. Wow. Thanks, everybody. But they all knew what they were doing. So that's the important thing here. This indictment is, you know who I actually do feel not sorry for, but you know who I kind of feel a little sympathy for? Michael Sussmann. He is the last person in this whole. He's the last person who, or he committed the least egregious of all the crimes. I don't believe he was in charge of purchasing the Steele dossier like other attorneys. I don't believe he was in charge. I don't believe he helped compile the dossier like Christopher Steele. He didn't investigate Trump like Peter Strzok and McCabe and Comey. He didn't work to indict anyone simply for public relations purposes, like, going after Carter Page or George Papadopoulos. Or everyone should listen. The whole world should listen to George Papadopoulos when it comes to what's going on. He has a profile on Twitter. I don't have Twitter, but you don't need to be on Twitter you don't need to be on Twitter to see what's going on. So I don't have Facebook or Twitter, but I follow some economists and some people on Twitter that I think that you should listen to, or hear what they have to say, and George Papadopoulos is one of them. He was, and buy his book. His book is great also. His book talks about how all of these agents were giddy. They were all, Kleinsmith being one of them, they were all drunk with power. They were saying things like, this is what happens when you work for a traitor Trump. I mean, they didn't care, / they thought it could be possible. They just wanted Trump out of the way. And they were going to do anything they could to get him to undermine his presidency. Sussman lied initially to the FBI legal counsel about the dossier being a political tool of Clinton and Democrats. But he's very likely not guilty, which is interesting because I'm talking about the Durham probe, and we're waiting for people to be held accountable. He's probably going to throw Baker or somebody else or one of the attorneys that he worked with under the bus. There's no way that Baker didn't know. Look, Michael Sussman, this man is innocent, almost certainly. Because he did set out to frame and and undermine Trump. So his indictment could be linked to another charge. There's no way on the planet, and thank you CMW as always. Thank you CMW as always. And thank you Lakiva, thank you. There's no way on the planet that Michael Sussman didn't think that James Baker of the FBI, legal counsel, who was under criminal investigation himself, do you think that Sussman knew that Baker would want incriminating dirt on, dirt, political opposition nonsense? They call it research, but a compilation of gossip. Don't you think that Baker was looking to undermine Trump? Of course he was. Do you think Sussman knew this? Do you think they both had an understanding? Of course they did. Do you think that anyone... This is the Federal Bureau of Investigation. They're supposed to go after the most horrible, menacing, life-threatening criminals, the most dangerous people on the planet. You think they didn't know the Steele dossier was purchased by Clinton specifically to undermine Trump? Like anyone, you'd have to be born yesterday. You'd have to be a complete imbecile not to know this. Of course the FBI knew. Of course they all knew. They just needed a reason, a pretext to go after Trump. This isn't rocket science. If you come to me and say, "Oh, by the way, if I'm a top agent at the bureau," and you come to me and say, "Oh, we have a dossier that says your direct political rival is working with another country," and you don't think that I'll know who purchased the information? You don't think that, okay, Clinton purchased, the Democrats purchased the Steele dossier. They then went to the United States government. The United States government then investigated Trump based on the absurd allegations of the Steele dossier and the nonsensical ranting and ravings of James Comey. Do you think maybe the United States government knew that all of this was just a pretext to take down Trump? They knew that all of it this was all lies. They knew that media and journalists wouldn't care because you can make baseless allegations against Trump, and you can also say the most prejudicial, horrible things if you're a Democrat. Biden has said worse than Trump, worse than Gruden. Biden has done worse than Trump, worse than Gruden, worse than anyone who's been canceled. But he's given a free pass because he's a Democrat. And media gives a free pass to Christopher Steele because he went after Trump with baseless allegations. They literally impeached Trump because Trump had the audacity. He committed a crime against humanity by asking Zelensky to look into whether Biden committed a crime, which Biden literally bragged and boasted about. Then they said, oh, well, there's no evidence, direct evidence, that he was bragging or boasting for a specific reason, like helping his son, who was on the board of directors of an energy company, where Biden eventually forced out a prosecutor who was about to investigate or investigating the energy company that was giving his son tens of thousands of dollars a month, $50,000 to $80,000. Everyone knows what's taking place. You think Democrats don't know how corrupt, Biden, his son, others? They don't care. They don't care. It's about narcissism. Just like when they say things that are offensive, when they do things like write the crime bill or destroy Libya, gee, I think that's worse than any of Trump's tweets. They just overlook it. And they say, here, General Milley, read this book. And then Milley and others just allow Afghanistan to just crumble before our eyes, using the T-ban as security outside of the only airport there. Ring constitutional. Thank you, my man. Thank you so very much, my man. Thank you so very, very much. Ring constitutional. I can't thank you enough. Ring constitutional. Sharon Isaacson. You're the only one talking about this. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you so very much. But ladies and gentlemen, read also my writing. Sharon, Ring constitutional. Please read my writing on hagoodman.com on the Durham probe. I've written a great deal, ladies and gentlemen, in the Federalist on the Durham probe. You can go to hagoodman.com. Ringen, Sharon, everybody here. If you can go to hagoodman.com, I got to update it right now. By the way, I got to update it because I started the stock market crash channel, and I have a Jerusalem Post and Federalist article that's not up there. But if you go to hagoodman.com, you go down and scroll down. H.A. Goodman's writing on the Durham probe conducted by William Barr's Justice Department. Well, started by. So John Durham needs to investigate why all the info generating the Mueller probe is all linked to Hillary Clinton. James Clapper knew there was no evidence of Trump-Russia collusion in 2016. Comey and McCabe should be charged with conspiring to defraud Americans. Because Mueller found no collusion, Trump should pardon Michael Flynn. I wrote that. And then 2 Daily Caller articles. Clinton's FBI email probe was almost certainly a cover-up, and I wrote that right after Trump was elected. Daily Caller email this email proves Cheryl Mills and Hillary Clinton lied to the FBI. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 articles on the Durham probe, or issues pertaining to the Durham probe. So I've been writing about this, ladies and gentlemen, for a long, long, long time. Jordan Weinberg. Jordan, thank you so very much, Jordan. I hope all is well. Wendy Khalil. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much for your support and your generosity. Wendy Khalil, thank you so much. Thank you, Wendy. I can't thank you enough. I hope all is well, and I thank you for watching. And thank you so very, very much, Ringen and Jordan and Wendy. Thank you, Wendy. Thanks so very, very much. I can't do this without you, ladies and gentlemen. Elliot, hello. And I do appreciate your support greatly. Wendy Khalil, thank you so much. Thank you, Wendy. I don't have $20 million in venture capital funding like some people, ladies and gentlemen, who, by the way, we won't even get into that. They're experiencing their own discrimination lawsuit. The biggest hypocrites on the planet are the ones who pontificate the most. Dweez Droid, Brandon Bizboys. Durham's goatee, though. Looks like Colonel Sanders, doesn't he? Wendy, thank you so very much. Dweez Droid, one of the great names on this channel. Faith, thank you so much, Faith. Thank you so very much. Thank you so much for your reporting, H.A. Thank you. Faith, thank you as always for watching. Wendy and Dweez and everybody here. And Jordan Weinberg, thank you so very, very much. Let's go ahead really quickly and listen to this. This is a really interesting interview with Jim Jordan, who should be Speaker of the House, either him or Devin Nunes. But check this out.
Well, part of the issue is those very people who abused power in 2016 are now back in power. right?
Yeah.
Jake Sullivan is the NSA right now for Joe Biden, and he was the one peddling this Russia hoax. So let me ask you about the special counsel, the Inspector General, Michael Horowitz, revealing that there were 200 errors in how the FBI applies for FISA surveillance warrants. A report coming out of an earlier probe on the FBI and how they created or went along with Hillary Clinton's creation of Russia collusion. Tell me about John Durham. There are obviously missteps in the surveillance application targeting former Trump advisor Carter Page. And do you expect that we will see more indictments from John Durham?
So all of them, ladies and gentlemen, expect more indictments. George Papadopoulos, Devin Nunes, Kash Patel, and Jim Jordan. Let me tell you, George Papadopoulos, Faith, Dweez Joy, Wendy Khalil. Thank you, Wendy. So kind of you. Thank you, Wendy and Faith and everybody here. Wendy, thank you so very much for your generosity. Greatly appreciate it. Jordan Weinberg, as always. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Jordan. George Papadopoulos is a patriot. Him and his wife, are the definition of, a beautiful marriage. The way his wife was defending her husband during, George Papadopoulos and his wife were an amazing team, and the way she was defending him while the Durham probe, while the Mueller team was trying to set him up and frame him, it was unbelievable seeing that. That is true love right there. That is true love right there. Everyone should read his book, George Papadopoulos, Carter Page, Michael Flynn, and I wrote that President Trump should pardon him, and thank God, everything did work out. But they were all set up. Now, Roger Stone, he was set up too, but the thing is, he opened a Pandora's box with kind of with sensational rhetoric. So he gave them a reason to go after him. But every single person, the only person who actually committed crimes was Manafort, but that had nothing to do with Russia. And they were just going after him. And the people he worked with probably did worse. They wanted retribution. Ladies and gentlemen, they wanted revenge. They didn't care. They say revenge is best served cold, and then the joke is it's served no matter what temperature, it's good. but they wanted revenge. They wanted revenge. They wanted retribution. And they had, look, they got their retribution. They got their revenge. They got their revenge, and it worked. They won the first round. They did win the first round. It's true. They won the first round. Okay? They went for the TKO, but it didn't work out. They went for the knockout, didn't work out. Okay? If you go for the knockout, it doesn't work out. You're left exposed. They did win. They were successful in deceiving half the country. Once they cheated Bernie Sanders in 2016, they told the world that they don't care about policies. Democrats, that's why they can't even pass an infrastructure bill. None of them even believe in it. They just want to spend money to feel good about themselves. They want to keep people poor. They don't care about alleviating poverty. They care about a social safety net, which is important. But they touch themselves in ecstasy saying, well, we're going to help people who don't have the money to do this or that. Well, why don't you empower people and focus on generating wealth and money, honey? But they don't care about that. They feel good about themselves if they keep people poor or ignore poverty for decades on end. You have Democratic-run areas that have been poor for decades. They don't care. They don't care. And it's like, meet John Doe. It's only taken 5 years and maybe another 2, but Hillary will be indicted. Meet John Doe. Thank you. I think that I agree with you, John. I agree with you. Meet John Doe. I agree with you. I think that John Durham, if Madam Secretary is ever going to be indicted, it'll be from John Durham. But meet John Doe, and thank you so very much. Over the years, it might be that Hillary Clinton never gets indicted, ever gets indicted, and that James Comey or Clapper or Brennan get indicted. See, with Hillary Clinton, I've been thinking about it. It's President Obama who allowed her to have the top secret intelligence with private servers. That's a crime in and of itself, But anyway, who's counting the crimes, the top secret intelligence that the whole planet has? But to Hillary's defense, which I've never, words I've never used, she almost certainly was allowed to have those servers by President Obama. President Obama was the most powerful person in the United States government for 8 years, in the world for 8 years. So, who allowed? See, we know that Madam Secretary created all of this. Meet John Doe. We know this. We know all of this. We know all of this. We know that Madam Secretary, all of this is linked to revenge or retribution against Trump. Okay? But President Obama allowed Hillary to use those servers with top secret intelligence. He knew. He didn't care, apparently. And that jeopardized his national security right then and there. And the James Comey, Clapper, Brennan, Strzok, Kleinsmith, Sussman, all of these people knew exactly what Madam Secretary was doing. They knew exactly what the Democratic Party was doing. They didn't need, like James Comey he never had, like with Democrats, they demand an actual document signed in blood. An oath. We, the intelligence community chiefs and attorneys linked to Clinton and other and media, we hereby give our souls to the purpose of undermining Trump and protecting Madam Secretary and Democrats and Biden from any negative media coverage and from any investigation that could reveal their corruption and criminality. And we promise to set up and frame Trump and get all these wonderful, apoplectic and hysterical, morally superior liberal journalists to obsess over fantasies we create. Signed, Comey, Strzok, McCabe, Clapper, Brennan. It's never going to happen. That's when the IG, when Horowitz said, well, there was no documentary or testimonial evidence of bias. Yeah, they didn't write down that they despised Trump. That's the whole point. They didn't write down that they despised Trump. Canned pears! Come on, man, I gotta take a drink every time you say temptation themselves on ecstasy. A drink of tall glass of Yoo-hoo or milk or canned pears, thank you so very much. Or grapefruit juice or orange juice. Something healthy. Canned pears, thank you so very, very much. Or pear juice, though, that is good, actually. Canned pears. Oh, the juice from canned pears? Who doesn't love that? Tell me who doesn't love that. Canned pears, thank you so very, very, very much. Wendy Khalil, thank you so very much, Wendy. Greatly appreciated as always. Or thank you so much for watching and greatly appreciate your generosity. Thank you, Wendy. Let's really quickly listen to Jim Jordan.
I do. Let's do the Durham report first. Remember, when Durham, I think John Durham gets the big picture. I mean, if you look at that indictment of Sussman for a false statement that he made to the FBI, I think it's really interesting when you read that indictment. But he gets the big picture, which is the Clinton campaign hired Perkins Coie law firm, who then went out and hired a bunch of people to create this false narrative that Trump was colluding with Russia, and then they peddled that story to the press and to the FBI. So much so that Sussman went to Jim Baker, chief counsel at the FBI, handed him information. Baker passes it on to Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, and Andy McCabe, who are running the investigation.
Do you think when Baker was passing on the information, you think when Baker was passing the information, you think that he knew that, Teresa, thank you so very much. Do you think that he knew, Wendy and Ken Pears and everybody here, and CMW and Jordan, everybody here, you think that Strzok and McCabe and Clapper all knew that the law firm that purchased the dossier was working with Clinton? And do you think they all knew that the objective was to take down Trump, the Orange Menace? They all wanted to take down Trump. It's not rocket science. 81,000 pages given to one of the attorneys at the law firm that purchased the dossier. How many pages of discovery do you think that Durham will have when Peter Strzok or Christopher Steele gets indicted? These people plunged this country. This never happened. This would be unthinkable. And you have Eisenhower warning us about the military-industrial complex and intelligence agencies. You have George Washington warning us about political factions. Okay. And it's just interesting how the atrocities linked to President Obama or Democrats, you can judge a founding father for despicable, horrible things that they were a party to. But despicable, horrible things President Obama or Bill Clinton were a party to, that's okay. Bill Clinton was president during the genocide in Rwanda. He did nothing. And there were things he was directly a part of also. He wasn't directly a part of that, obviously. But President Obama was directly, he was directly linked to destroying all of Libya. Not like a specific campaign to do so, but a NATO intervention that was not only altruistic, there were national security concerns, there was a selfish reason to engage in the NATO intervention also, and it resulted in chaos and mayhem and a loss of tragic, terrible, atrocious loss of life and unspeakable atrocities. And so January is Trump's fault, but Libya is not President Obama's fault? How does this work? And any statue or any photo or portrait of President Obama must be kept everywhere? But you look at what he directly was responsible for? Human beings being bought and sold? You can disassociate a Democrat from what he did, but you look at the founding fathers and say, oh, no, we judge. We judge based on today's standards, but we don't judge Democrats based on today's standards for what they did today. This is fantastic. This is absolutely wonderful. What better example of narcissism could there be in world history? Look at the crime bill. Biden wrote if you want to say, well, President Obama's NATO intervention, you can actually defend You could defend him saying, well, it wasn't his fault, even though you would never defend Trump. But you can't defend Biden. You mean to tell me John Gruden's worse than Biden, who literally wrote the 100-to-1 sentencing disparity? The 100-to-1 sentencing disparity. You want to talk about systemic injustice? 100-to-1 sentencing Biden. He wrote the actual part of the 94 crime bill where how an early Biden crime bill created sentencing disparity. Okay? This is the Washington Post. And there's other. And then Vox, look at how they sanitize everything. Joe Biden's controversial criminal justice record explained. Oh, it's explained. Trump, madman Trump. Oh my God, his tweets. Oh my God, he's a madman. He's a horrible human being. Trump. Joe Biden's controversial criminal justice record explained. How an early Biden crime bill created the sentencing disparity. Let's discuss, shall we? John Gruden? That's it? Emails from 10 years ago? How dare you? How Joe Biden's actual writing of a criminal code ruined the lives of hundreds of thousands. Explained in the most nicest, most wonderful manner possible. I mean, it's like it's like unbelievable. It's like unbelievable. It's this sleight of hand is unbelievable. The 1994 crime bill continues to undercut justice reform. I mean, what's worse? What's worse? Joe Biden's role in mass incarceration or emails written 10 years ago? But wait, you're gonna, but see, that's the thing. They pick and choose. It's such a racket, and it's such a political racket. Like, J Spot 51. Bingo bongo. Here's another 5 months. Thank you, J Spot 51. Thank you. Lakiva. What's his name? Governor of Florida solidifies California missing the boat twice in the Pacific Rim. I know, Lakiva. Those ships are being redirected. That's right. DeSantis is the man. Lakiva, thank you so much. DeSantis is the man. Lakiva, DeSantis is the man. I actually spoke to two people this week, one from Florida and one from Texas. Life is good. Life is good in Texas, Lakiva. Life is good. And I'm from California. And I was like, do you have to do this and that and this and that and this and that and this and that and this? And they're like, no, it's fine. Everything's fine. We're totally happy. You can do this? Yeah, it's fine. Why? You can't? No, we can't. We're not allowed to in California. We're not allowed to. We weren't given the permission. But in Texas, Florida, you're free to live. Oh, who would have thought? Lakiva, thank you so very much. That's why they can't stand. They tried to do a commercial. They tried to do a commercial. In Florida, you're allowed to actually live. Florida. You're now entering the airspace of Florida, where people can live. What? Oh, no. You're now entering the airspace of DeSantis in Florida, leaving the safety and responsibility of blue states with people going to the bathroom on your car while you're driving. That was basically the gist of the commercial. Lakiva, thank you. All right, let's go ahead. Listen.
That's ridiculous. And it was all false. So Durham gets the big picture. Yep. It's also important that the false statement to the FBI wasn't a false statement made to Durham and his investigative team. No, it was the false statement that Sussman made to Baker clear back in 2016.
But Baker was working with a liberal journalist who shall remain nameless, but is also in the public record. No need to cause problems. You know, this liberal journalist is all over the place. In the Horowitz report, I believe. It's just like, these people, it's such an overt setup. And look, it's such an overt setup. Okay? It would be the equivalent of, you know, when you were younger, I don't suggest anybody do this, but like in football, I remember in high school, we would just messing around when there was like downtime in practice, messing around. One person would go behind, like somebody would be like a teammate would be standing, and then another person would go behind him, like kneel down, and then you'd push the guy, and then he'd fall over the person, kind of like, you know, crouching down right behind. And so like you quickly realized it was like a setup, okay? And the person falling quickly realized, oh, these two people were setting me up, okay? Ha ha ha. Well, that's what they did to Trump. Everyone knows it was a setup. Everyone knows that he was set up and framed. Do you think, does anyone even believe that I agree with you, Rose, I agree with you 100%. Does anyone even believe? Yeah, that really quickly, that ad, the Democrats are so delusional. They're so frightened of their own shadow. Now we don't even have to get there making things up. Yeah, mix and match, no problem. What's the problem? Mix and match. See, nobody even knows what I'm talking about. Maybe 2%, maybe 5% of people will know what I'm... mix and match, yeah. Who cares? Yeah, mix and match, fine. It's totally fine. Do you think it's safe? Yeah, it's better than the alternative. We're going to give you the cost-benefit analysis for your life. Trust me on that, buddy. Should I lose 25 pounds and go to the gym and maybe stop doing all of these things like, not me, but the character I'm pretending to be, and all this bad thing? No, don't do that. No, you're fine. You're fine. No. Should I maybe start lifting weights and eating healthier? No. Why would you do that? Who told you that? Trump? Don Jr.? The loonies? Don't do that. Don't talk about that. What about vitamins? Maybe I should get a better cholesterol and make sure I don't have hypertension? No. You're fine. We're going to mix and match. Yeah, it's good. It's fantastic. Everyone's saying it. The intelligentsia. If the intelligentsia tells you how to run your life, you're safe. If the intelligentsia tells you something other, the common sense isn't as important as what the intelligentsia says. But what if it's not good for me personally? Do I have the right to perhaps, I don't know, maybe decide my own cost-benefit analysis or risk-reward evaluation or analysis? Could I possibly look at my own life and then look at the data or the numbers? You're a problem to society. If you ever even do that, you need to be excommunicated and blamed for everything. And no, you have no right to decide what's good for your life. And if the intelligentsia says you do this, you do it. That's it. But what about the Emmys when they weren't following protocol? Those people are esteemed and admired by the intelligentsia, so they're allowed to do anything they like. You're a nothing. So just fall in line. Okay. I just want to be liked. We like you. Not really. We like you. But if you open your mouth, we don't like you. And you're going to be silenced. The good thing about being a supporter of Trump is that you pretty much lost 70% of your friends. I lost probably 80% of my friends. It's not a problem because I look back and I'm like, I miss them, but thank God they told me who they are. You know what I mean? Why would I want to be like, hey, you enjoying the barbecue? Yay! And then the next week, it's like, you know what? I can't be your friend anymore. Trump's running again. Well, didn't you know that during the barbecue? Didn't you know? Obviously, he was running. No, found out he was running again. Not your friend anymore. Bye. Who needs that? Who needs that? Why would you care about the political opinion of somebody who never talked about politics in 30 years? Suddenly they picked up the New York Times at the worst point in the publication's history, and they're suddenly these aficionado in politics. Oh, wow. You read the book General Milley read. Fantastic. Maybe that was the cause. Maybe that's the cause of the debacle that took place in Afghanistan. Because he was reading books on social. He was reading Robin DiAngelo. We went from Patton to Schwarzkopf to Milley, reading Robin DiAngelo. What could go wrong? What could go wrong? Do you think maybe you think President C maybe thinks he has one up? I think so. Anyway. Let's listen to this.
When they launched this whole thing. So I think that's really important that Durham, I think, fully understands what took place here, and he is trying to do what he can to get to the bottom of it and hold people accountable. Relative to the FISA, 183 FISA applications did not have the Woods file, which is the underlying supporting evidence you need when you go to the FISA court. 183. Chris Wray told us a year and a half ago, we can sleep well at night knowing the FISA process is under control. Really? Mr. Horowitz just gave us this report yesterday. It says 183 times you went to the FISA court with an application that was not properly supported.
Well, let me ask you.
So, Mad Cow Mark. Cheers, long night, need sleep. Thank you so very much, Mad Cow Mark. Hope all is well. Thank you so very much, Mad Cow Mark. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciated. Wendy again. Wendy Khalil. Thank you so much, Wendy. Thank you, Mad Cow Mark. Thank you. Thank you, Mad Cow Mark. Greatly appreciated. So, Jim Jordan's right. Let's continue. He's right.
I mean, this indictment, is it casting the FBI as a victim? I mean, look, we keep seeing missteps at the FBI.
Of course it is. But that's the genius behind this. Pretty hilarious. That's the genius behind it. That's the genius behind it, because they're like, oh, poor people at the Bureau trying to, trying to just protect us in national security. Okay, so let's see here.
And Christopher Wray is still running things.
I think it's too
I know the special counsel John Durham issued a fresh round of subpoenas targeting Perkins Coie. Your thoughts? I know that also Devin Nunes sent Durham 14 criminal referrals. 14.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I'm cautiously optimistic based on the Sussman indictment. It's 27 pages. The opening sentence talks about what the media was reporting in the week before the 2016 election. So again, that's why I feel like he fully gets the complete picture here. We'll just have to see. But I do think it's kind of interesting. Did Jim Baker really not know that Sussman, working at Perkins Coie, was representing the Clinton campaign when he brought the information to him and he passed it on to Strzok and Page and the people doing the investigation? I find that kind of hard to believe.
Of course, that's the whole point. And we got 800 to 1,000 people on this live stream. That's the whole point, ladies and gentlemen. He knew. They all knew. Okay? They all knew. Jim Jordan knows. Sussman knows. Baker knew. Everybody knew. Everybody knew what was going on. Nobody was duped. Nobody was duped. Everybody knew exactly what they were doing. Really quickly, Biden said during a 2008 Senate hearing, many have argued that this 100-to-1 disparity is arbitrary, unnecessary, and unjust. And I agree, and I might say that from the outset, in full disclosure, I am the guy that drafted this legislation years ago with a guy named Daniel Patrick Moynihan. I am part of the problem that I have been trying to solve since then, because I think the disparity is way out of line. So, do you see the despicable narcissism here? You go after John Gruden for emails, and everyone's touching themselves in ecstasy, feeling so good about themselves that you can go and pick on somebody and try to ruin his life when he's never been accused. Like, you treat, the way you treat people is who you are, not what you say, not what you think. You don't think any of these justice activists have had horrible thoughts in their minds, prejudicial thought? There's not a person on the planet who hasn't had a prejudicial thought. Everyone has. It's how you treat people in life. It's who you are as a human being. But the left doesn't see that because they just want to condemn and judge. Because, like I said, they touch themselves in ecstasy on condemnation and judgment while they vote for Biden, who literally wrote the 100-to-1 sentencing disparity. The hypocrites. What do you think's worse? Somebody said something on Twitter or an email, and Madam Secretary has top secret intelligence. They get John Gruden. You got top secret intelligence for 4 years. And you get the Raiders football coach for emails, and then you got Hunter Biden and his emails and everything. Their emails are protected. Any emails that show Bernie Sanders was cheated, it's Russia. I mean, they're good. I give it up to the left. Everything that they do is to, their best defense is a good offense. Their best defense is a good offense. Accuse, condemn, judge. Accuse, condemn, judge. Judge, accuse, and condemn. But what about what you did that's a million times worse? Whataboutism. Yes, I know. Whataboutism. Exactly. Absolutely. You can't have whataboutism. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. It's called hypocrisy. Look it up. It's called being a hypocrite, which is what you are. These are the biggest hypocrites that have ever lived. Do as I say, not as I do. Cower in fear to my condemnation and judgment, even though I've ruined the lives of people. Countless people. The Democrats have ruined the lives of countless people, yet they're the first to condemn and judge. Oh, you don't support the anthem protest? Well, why doesn't Biden kneel during the anthem protest? Why don't you get any Democrats to kneel? They did on their own time, but not during the anthem. So then what's the point? Well, they showed a certain type of reverence, and that's all you need. It's called a public relations stunt. Look it up. Biden is bragging in 2008 about writing the 2008, writing the 101 sentencing disparity that, by the way, his son circumvented. Yet you're going to go after, and then he didn't change because he's like, oh, if you don't vote for me, you're not who you are. But then you're going to go after, then all like ESPN, all these shows are, yes, he wrote bad things, and he's a bad person. Well, did he actually write laws to ruin people's lives? No, he was just a football coach, and all his players loved him. He's a good person. He wrote some bad things he shouldn't have written in an email 10 years ago that nobody should have seen. Well, what happened to him? He lost his job! Oh, what happened to Biden, who actually ruined the people's lives in Libya, at home with the crime bill? What happened to him? He became president. Oh, wow. What good justice we have. Fantastic justice. Oh, yeah. So justicey. So good. We justice so good in this country, you have no idea. It's a racket. It is a racket. God. So people so easily deceived is unbelievable. You can actually inflict, if you're a Democrat, you could actually inflict harm on people. You won't be canceled. But you better not have said anything if you're anyone 10 years ago on an email. Oh, my God. But anyway, let's continue.
Because we actually, Mark Meadows had a chance to depose Jim Baker a couple years ago. We'll just have to wait and see. But I'm cautiously optimistic that Mr. Durham is in fact fully understands the full picture and is in fact going to hold people accountable.
So we know. So here, this is hilarious. This is typical MSNBC. Right next to this Fox Business, they have. So this is typical MSNBC. They have Steve Schmidt, who's like a Lincoln Project never-Trumper. And then they say he will face justice. Former GOP insider. He's not a former GOP insider. Or he's not anyone who would have any knowledge of what the Republican Party is today. Trump runs the Republican Party. It's a completely different political entity. It's barely functioning as a political party now. McConnell is doing the bare minimum in terms of opposing Democrats. You don't have any opposition in terms of social or domestic issues pertaining to topics we don't talk about or whatever. There's no difference of opinion. There's no opposition of viewpoint on a variety of topics pushed by Republicans. But you get this, they convince themselves, the MSNBC viewers and CNN viewers, that there are good Republicans trying to take back the Republican Party and bring it back to where Romney was, when Romney was a good Republican. It's like that media will never exist or no longer exists. That world doesn't exist. Christy, thank you. That world doesn't exist. Well, let's continue here. This is a fantastic segment.
Ranking member. He is Congressman Devin Nunes. Congressman, it's great to have you back on. What is your take on this about Special Counsel John Durham issuing recently new subpoenas to access documents at the law firm that represented the Hillary campaign? Is he going to bring potential conspiracy charges? Is he really trying to get to the bottom of how the Hillary campaign used the government to go after Trump?
Well, if you read the 27-page indictment of Sussman, I believe so. And remember.
Hold on one second. I got to do something for Timothy. Timothy. Yeah. Mitch McConnell says hello. All right, let's continue. Timothy, I wish I could do more, but I'll do more in a couple of minutes. Timothy, thank you as always for watching and for listening.
Remember, those reports are not coming from Durham. They're coming from notorious fake news sites that the perpetrators of the Russia hoax always go to. It's the usual suspects. So what we're reading and where we're getting these rumors from are from people that want to create the narrative that this is just some grand conspiracy that's being drummed up by John Durham. I think the bottom line is this: the American people expect Durham to do his job and to have the resources to do his job. And my concern right now is that whether.
By the way, I will do a segment on the Durham probe being funded another year. So they're always going to fund it. They're going to fund the Durham probe forever. There's no timeline for this, people. There's no timeline. And there's no statute of limitations either on a number of these charges. So, by the way, we're almost at 185,000 subs. We're really close. Tell your friends about this channel, people. Tell your friends about this channel. We're almost at 185, and we're not that far from 200. And I'm doing this all with your help. This channel, the Stock Market Crash channel. So, you know what? Tell your friends about this channel, but let's continue.
Or not, Garland, when he's politicizing everything, including now targeting possible school districts and parents that go to school board meeting for somehow being terrorists. This is someone who's dangerous as the Attorney General, who I think if he could, he would try to shut Durham down. And every Republican, senator and congressman should be demanding and telling. So
just today, the budget was renewed. So they're always going to renew the budget. They're always going to renew the budget. So,
the Attorney General, if you do this, you are obstructing justice and you will be held accountable.
Because what Durham put forward was what's called a speaking indictment. It went beyond just charges. Usually that's like a 5 to 10 page indictment. This was more than double that. It was on 27 pages, and it laid out possible evidence or possible information that he is pursuing. So he's going after basically the emails, the text messages, the bank records, the billing records, the meeting calendars and other documents that the law firm that represented the Hillary campaign. So so this is like Ken Starr. Ken Starr in the Whitewater case, he went after the Rose law firm billing records to find out what happened in Whitewater. It looks like he's doing the same. So when you look at the speaking indictment, Congressman, he's laying out information about Hillary's team using Internet Cyber Pro researchers who were working to protect.
So the speaking indictment, the reason that they have so many, like 81,000 pages, and the indictment's 27 pages, and everyone's turning on each other, or everyone's about to turn on each other, and they used people who had government contracts at universities. I mean, they used tech people at universities, okay, to just go after, to find non-public data. Non-public data. Okay? That's what they were doing. This is non-public data. and they were getting information. Ian, thank you so very much, Ian. So greatly appreciated. Ian, there needs to be an island like Kurt Douglas and Escape for LA. That's right. Great minds think alike. I love Kurt Douglas. Escape from LA is Kurt Russell. I love Kurt Russell. Escape from New York is pretty good too. There used to be a liberal mindset; they would be able to just live in harmony. I'd give it a week before it gets smoked by and sinks to the bottom of the ocean. Thank you. Big Trouble in Little China is fantastic also. Kurt Russell's the man. Big Trouble in Little China is awesome. That Kurt Russell is the man. Ian, thank you so very, very much. Ian, thank you. Snake Volskin, yes. Ian, thank you as always. I can't thank you enough, Ian. I can't thank you enough. Wendy, Ian, thank you so very, very much. Thank you. Ian, I cannot thank you enough. I hope all is well. Great minds think alike. I love Kurt Russell. He's awesome. And that Escape from LA is actually becoming a documentary. It's actually becoming a documentary. Escape from New York and Escape from LA are two documentaries, actually. They're not sci-fi films. They're documentaries.
Protect the government with working with the Pentagon and DARPA to protect the government from cyber attacks, to instead basically deliver secret government data to take down Trump.
Yeah, I would say.
Check this out. This is interesting.
He's laying out information about Hillary's team using Internet Cyber Pro researchers who were working to protect the government working with the Pentagon and DARPA to protect the government from cyber attacks, to instead basically deliver secret government data to take down Trump.
Yeah, I would say this.
So there's not a facet of life or politics or society or foreign policy where they didn't try to utilize to take down Trump. Ian, thank you so very much. Ian Moyer, I can't thank you enough, Ian. It's so kind of you. Indy, if you wrap your words and use some. He's like, do you think AI can still understand a sense? Probably. Actually, definitely, depending on the words. Indeed. Thank you so very, very much. Thank you so very much, Indy. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Indy. Ian, thank you so very, very much.
Think about it this way. Typically, lying to the FBI is used, and the reason you say it's a 5-page indictment is because typically that's when some of the FBI knocks. Yeah, but when you say a normal one is 5 pages, that's because FBI knocks on your door. They're going after you for some major crime. They can't get it on you, and then they allow you to plead down. What this is very unusual because it's a 27-page indictment, as you said, a speaking indictment. But I think this is even worse because can you imagine a country where we have people who don't like their neighbor, who don't like their politics, can just walk into their local FBI field office and frame their fellow American citizen? That's what happened here. This is so beyond the pale of what the Clinton campaign and the DNC were willing to do. Quite frankly, it took a 27-page indictment, and people should not be downplaying it. This is not okay in America.
You know, when they Jesus, I agree with you on that. I think that's what's eventually going to happen with the people who are higher up. People who are higher up are going to get indicted once the House turns Republican, Trump Republican. Yeah. Ian, thank you so very, very much, as always. Indy, thank you, as always. Let's continue here. I mean, he's right. You can't have, ladies and gentlemen, you can't have a society or a world, you can't have an American society where you are setting up your political rivals because you have the support of media. The Washington Post and the New York Times are more, the Washington Post and the New York Times are more revered publications than CNN and MSNBC, but they're basically a higher level or a more esteemed CNN or MSNBC. That's what half the country despises media, because they know that media lies by omission. If you just say media lies, no, we don't lie. What are you talking about? We're reporting the truth. You're reporting half of the truth, and you're distorting what you're not reporting. You're reporting half the truth, half of the truth, half, just half. Lie by omission. It's a lie by omission. So, let's continue.
It was about the Trump organization computers talking supposedly to Russia's Alfa Bank, when the FBI said that was just Trump hotel marketing spam emails. So the question is, in going after Michael Sussmann, the Democrat representative, the lawyer for the Democrats' Hillary campaign, he pleaded not guilty to an indictment. Is he trying to flip Michael Sussmann in order to go after people like Jake Sullivan, Biden's NSA? We ran out of time there. We're so sorry, Congressman. We're going to have you back on again soon. It's good to see you.
So you have to ask yourself, when will this... How will this end? Well, you're going to have people indicted who you never thought would be indicted. And again, this is a special counsel. It's a special counsel. You're dealing with the Justice Department being forced to. The Justice Department being forced to do the right thing. They're being forced to do the right thing. They don't want to do the right thing. They certainly don't want to do the right thing, but they're being forced to do the right thing. And so, these people set up and framed President Trump. They're despicable. They know that they wanted to harm political opponents. They wanted to harm political opponents. That's their only goal. Do you think you have to be complete gullible? You have to be very gullible. Very gullible. To think that these people didn't know what they were doing. They all knew what they were doing. That's why they're getting indicted now. And Trump has told the truth more often than media have. Media lied about Trump Russia from day one. That's all they did was lie. It was a completely fabricated hoax that you'd have to be an imbecile to believe. Ben D, did I say thank you? Ben D, any word on the containers? Ordered me. Ben D, Ben D, thank you so very much. The cargo, I didn't see your, the cargo and container ships are still out like 40 or 50 outside Long Beach. And the supply chain is broken. I'll get to that on the stock market crash channel. But the supply chain is broken. And, you know, we're looking, ladies and gentlemen, at a real bad financial crisis. A really bad financial crisis, unfortunately. We have, really quickly, Ben D, thank you so very much. We have corporate profits that will eventually decline. Corporate profits will decline. And once corporate profits decline from quantitative easing, like slowly ending, Fed tapering beginning, and QE ending, we could just see GDP is real final sales is in negative territory. That's a measurement of GDP. It's in negative territory for the first time since Q2. That's in negative territory. Okay, so you can look, the Atlanta Fed, or actually real final sales, Federal Reserve. Real final sales of domestic product. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. Where is this? Hold on one second. Real final sales. A nowcast. Real final sales. So nowcast real final sales for domestic product, St. Louis Fed, negative 1.55%, or negative 1.55. That's the first time real final sales of domestic product was negative since the second quarter of last year. We are actually contracting by some measurement. Our economy is actually contracting. This is from the St. Louis Fed. Okay? So, and Biden's policies, his climate policies, have caused coal and natural gas and oil to be at record highs. Everything Democrats want, the opposite takes place because of their apoplectic, hysterical reaction. Like, climate change is an important issue. It's a serious issue. It needs to be tackled and addressed. And you need to combat climate change, but not by making oil and natural gas and coal more expensive. How does that work? And I agree with Eric H526. If you have a garden, if you could plant your own food, vegetables or fruits or whatever, that's fantastic. If you can do that, if you can, I'm not talking about for climate change, but it's just amazing to be self-sufficient in that manner, to be able, even if you have like an orange tree or, pomegranates, or tomatoes, if you can make tomatoes, or, I think that's a skill, that's a wonderful skill to have. But I mean, it's like we're heading towards a real financial crisis. And the problem is the original sin is the intelligentsia, who's completely, the intelligentsia of our country is not only apoplectic, but always wrong on major issues. Always wrong. When they're like, how dare you? When they say, how dare you regarding climate change? It's like, yeah, it's an important issue. Just wondering, why do you think coal, the price for coal, is at an all-time high? Gee, why do you think so? Oh, I don't know. Maybe because your policies stink. Coal prices all-time high. Coal surges to record as global scramble for energy. Why don't we ask AOC? I say she's a brilliant person. She's a brilliant human being. Brilliant. Very, very brilliant. Very, very, very genius. Brilliant. Stephen Hawking, AOC. Charles Darwin, Stephen Hawking, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, Einstein, Milton Friedman, AOC. AOC before Einstein. No. Stephen Hawking, AOC, and then Einstein. Well, she wrote the Green New Deal, so why doesn't she explain why coal is at an all-time high in price? We're supposed to be, we have 12 years left. Come on. Why is natural gas double the price, 5 times the price in Europe? Their liberals have even greater control of their future, which is why natural gas is 5 times the price. When you have the morally superior liberals controlling your future, you better believe coal and natural gas and oil are going to be at all-time highs. You better believe that's going to happen. You better believe it's going to happen. You better believe that. You need to decarbonize. But if you focus only on that at the expense of the economy, this is what happens. Oh, man. Ah. Bug. Hold on 1 second. Sorry. Sharon! Wish you were able to ask Jen Psaki real questions while being aired. Psaki, she's fantastic. Nobody is better at deflecting a question because the Democrats can deflect better than anybody because the people who are asking the questions are like, can I ask a question? Oh, I'm sorry to ask this, but we have 70 container ships outside of ports. Do you think you could talk about the supply chain issues? I'm sorry, at least Trump's not president or tweeting. Thank you so much. Okay, that is irresponsible because you said that they were anchored outside. Who knows? You know what? Some of them are not even anchored. They're actually just floating. You see what you did? You said anchor. You said anchor, and some were floating. And they chose to do this because people are buying more things. Okay? The economy is actually skyrocketing. And if you took an economics course, maybe you wouldn't be so ignorant as to ask that question. Because people are actually buying more things. And that means it's good. So you see how wrong you are. Okay? This is the type of rhetoric that's going to get Trump back in office, and we don't want that. We don't want record low unemployment. Wage increases. A better life for everybody. We don't want that. We want cargo ships floating because they want to outside of ports. Okay? It's all about optics. This is what mashed potato brains Biden told Ashraf Ghani. That is the saddest, most horrible phone call ever. He's like, hey, come on, man. And then Ashraf Ghani said, we're going to be overthrown in any moment, and other countries are helping out, and we need help. Hey, man, focus on optics, man. People are talking, man. You know the deal. You know the deal, Ghani. Try to focus on optics and tell everybody you're doing great, like I do. And then he had a phone call with President Z. Who do you think got the better of that one? Who do you think got the better of that one? Hey, Z-Man. Hey, Z-Man, come on now. You're not going to invade Taiwan now. No. Why? What have you heard? Okay, thank you. I got to go. You just promised not to invade Taiwan, okay? Yeah. Of course not. Why? Why would you say that? Cool. Hey, great talking to you, Z-Man. You know the deal. Okay, bye. He doesn't even care. He's phoned it in. He doesn't care. Ian, thank you as always. I can't thank you enough, Ian. Canned pears. He's still going. My boy Goodman's. I got 20 more minutes. I'm going to try to do 2 hours. Canned pears. Canned pears. I don't often get 800 to 1,000 viewers, so I'm trying to make the most of it. Canned pears. Thank you. Canned pears. I do impressions. Ian, I do impressions. Timothy. AJ, good man. Never in my 45 years on this earth, because I'm only 45 years old, have I seen somebody with so much integrity? I can't even do it tonight. Canned pears. Thank you. JR. Let's go, Brandon. Oh, we're so happy for you. JR. That is the best. That has to be the best interview of all time. JR. Thank you. Oh, it's the best. This is the best day of my life. This poor guy. Hold on. Who's the? I don't even know who the race car driver is. I know his name starts with Brandon, but here, hold on. Brandon Brown. Yes. It's so awesome. This is a great day. It's like the greatest day of my life. Oh my God. This is so awesome. It's so great. You can't. And then the Democrats, after Robert De Niro, by the way, is like, oh yeah, hey, you know Trump, F Trump. At what was it, the Academy Awards or Emmys? And they were all like applauding. Now it's hitting stadiums. And the same people are like, I can't believe these Trumpers. Oh, no. Sports. Leave politics out of sports. Man, politics has been infused with sports for about 4 years now. All against Trump. So, it's kind of hilarious. Oh, let's go, Brandon. The right's new anti-Biden chant comes from a NASCAR broadcast where NBC Sports didn't want to drop the you-know-what word. The right. The despicable right. Ben Shapiro. He goes, let's go, Brandon. He quotes, IMF warns of inflation and slowing recovery. My friend, my name's Joe, but my friends call me Brandon. You better believe that the algorithm's gonna get that. JR, thank you, Remnant 0888. Thank you, Remnant. I hope all is well. Remnant 0888. Thank you so very, very much. Thank you, Remnant 0888. Thank you so very, very much. I just love how, like, they've tried every way to suppress thought, to influence public opinion, and still there's, let's go, Brandon. It's amazing. They can't, it's like, they're like, what do we need to do? What do we need? We've control all the algorithms. What do we need to do? What do we need to do? Honestly. I mean, seriously, what do we need to do? I mean, seriously. Remnant 0888, thank you. Wait, Canada banned what? Not doubting that. Let's hold on 1 second. Oh, Canada did not ban. Did Canada ban Let's Go Brandon Chance? It's going to get banned eventually. You'll see. Snopes says false. That's just a matter of time. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. I think we're almost at 2 hours. I can't thank you enough. We will be doing Durham probe updates and live streams. I'll try every day. There's a new revelation. So tomorrow we're going to talk about the Durham probe is funded through the next year. Merrick Garland is basically forced to fund the Durham probes. That's huge news. The Sussman with the 81,000-page discovery is huge, points to indictments of major individuals. And, ladies and gentlemen, things are heating up. So, hit subscribe to this channel. Tell your friends about this channel. In all of YouTube, I'm probably the foremost channel talking about the Durham probe, giving analysis and evaluation. So, and I wrote about it in the Federalist and Daily Caller. So, hit subscribe. Tell your friends about this channel. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. I'll have a segment in about an hour or so on that channel. And read my article, my latest one in the Federalist, about the upcoming stock market crash. Save your money, ladies and gentlemen, every month, every week, every month. Save a little money for a rainy day. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. God bless to my super chat. Thank you so very much. David, J-Spot, everybody here. Luke and Eric, H526, thank you. I'll see you tomorrow on this channel. Make sure to watch the upload tomorrow morning on the Durham probe funding, being funded from now until forever, until it ends. Give me your thoughts.